Good evening, everyone. It means a great deal to be here, marking the culmination of a journey that's been quite literally years in the making. This book has been a project of deep excavation, both literal and metaphorical. It began in early 2021 when we started digging through archives, scanning and then rescanning material. The process was as much about recovery as it was about creation. The archives of Amin Gulgee formed the backbone of the project. A practicing artist for over 30 years, Amin has built a career marked not only by prolific output, but by an unwavering dedication to documentation. Luckily for us, he documents everything. Amin archives literally everything. For nearly every exhibition and curatorial project he's touched, to the most obscure press clippings and publications, half the work was already sitting in carefully catalogued folders, old slides, negatives, hard drives, just waiting to be reawakened. Few artists create an archive as vast, layered, and wonderfully chaotic, yet meticulously organized, as he has in his lifetime. We found ourselves knee-deep in material and overwhelming, yet exhilarating foundation to build from. Working with Amin, if you'd asked me at the beginning, I might have had a different story to tell. Balancing his temperament and intense organized drive with my own was a process. Finding that rhythm was tough, I will admit, and I'm sure Amin will too. But once we did, it just clicked. It became a genuine pleasure, and having John involved brought a calmness to the process that we both needed, especially when Amin's stress levels were rising. John McCary has been so much more than just the editor on the project. He's been a true co-visionary. His meticulous attention to detail, his sharp eye for editing and proofreading, and the thoughtful critique he's offered throughout the project has been absolutely invaluable. This book wouldn't be without, or what it is without, John's quiet persistence and unwavering clarity. So thank you, John. And yes, we went through more than 40 plus drafts. An ongoing process that evolved as the project took shape, from conceptualizing the structure to curating the flow, to finalizing every little detail of the project, from the look and feel, the size, the font, the layout, and our signature red. Every detail was considered and then reconsidered and then reworked again. From online meetings to in-person marathons between his studio and mine, even while traveling, or in my case, stuck in a chair with a broken foot, we never stopped. The color correction alone was a challenge, balancing aged archival photographs with newly shot images to create visual consistency across decades of documentation. I don't think I've ever worked this long and this many hours on any project as I have on this one. Together, we shaped what became a 630-page monograph, 416 pages of which made it into print, and was published by Sameera in 2024. It includes 7 chapters, each carefully reflecting Amin's practice in a way that felt true to the work. It also features 12 essays by truly incredible individuals, each offering unique insights into Amin's trajectory. I would like to add that while Amin was working with Sameera to finalize the monograph, we also started working simultaneously on the Gulgee Museum Handbook. I don't know how he does it. So the long nights, the endless drafts, and the shared vision, and the incredible team that brought it all together, today we celebrate Amin Gulgee's monograph, No Man's Land. Thank you.
I really appreciate it, and thank you for everybody again who's come on time. And now we will start with a very informal Q&A because it's Amin and it is uncensored. It has a different format and it'll be very, very informal. I am just warning you all to be prepared. Thank you. The format is Amin had requested some people to ask questions, and I will read out the questions of those people, and then I will randomly pick some people from the audience, and they will have to ask a question just like that. The first question is from Adila Suleiman. Adila is a contemporary artist based in Karachi. She's one of our most critically acclaimed artists. She's a sculptor, and as Amin is a sculptor, I thought it would be very interesting for one of the same discipline to ask the question. So Amin, your practice moves gracefully between traditional South Asian motifs and contemporary abstraction. How do you decide when a work should evoke ritual and history versus pursue purely formal or conceptual aims? That's one question. And how do you balance the performative aspects of your three-dimensional pieces, maintaining the sensitivity of performance while also honoring the physical weight and presence of the form?
Hi, thank you all so very much for being here. I truly, truly do appreciate it. And I would like this chance to thank Kiran Ahmed, my designer, John McCary, the editor of both books, No Man's Land, my monograph, as well as the Gulgee Museum Handbook, and Sameera, my publisher for the museum for No Man's Land, and Amina Saeed, Lightstone Publishers for the Gulgee Museum Handbook. They've been wonderful to work with, and most of all, for beautiful Sameera Raja, who's always so generous in opening her space for these sort of events. No, these are very good questions of Adila, who is an incredible artist. I think the first question was about modernity and tradition, and how do you decide? Well, I don't decide anything. The work decides. I'm just a conduit. My work is not a conscious act. The work decides where it should go. The work tells me what I should do. It decides. Sometimes you pick up a thread, you lose it. Sometimes in the middle of something else comes up. It's like a magic process. And as far as using objects for performances, I want whoever is wearing them, owning them, dancing them, for them to become one with the object. A kind of metamorphosis has to happen. I wanted my performances to be a shamanistic experience. You know, sensitivity of performance. Is performance sensitive? Should performance be sensitive? Maybe, maybe not. That's what's wonderful about performance art. It challenges you. It's not the performing arts, which is there to please you, delight you, entertain you. And that's what interests me about performance art. That it takes it to another realm, a realm that can be confrontational.
And you are very confrontational.
No, I'm a lover, not a fighter, baby.
I think anyone who's seen his performance art shows will agree with the fact that they're very in your face and they make you think, right? Which is exactly what you want us to do. So thank you for that very good answer. From an excellent question from Adila, we will move on to H.M. Naqvi. H.M. Naqvi, as I'm sure most of you will know, is an author who is based in Karachi. And his question is diametrically opposite to Adila's. It's a one-liner. It says, "What makes you tick?"
Coffee. No. I don't know. I mean, I'm old and mellow now. You know. I'll tell you one thing, because I'm in the process of writing my memoir. It's called Glitch, the story of me. And I've been working on it in Paris at Ricolet, which is headed by Crystal Doziers, who's very kindly opened a space to me. And so I remember a formative thing that happened to me, Sameera, is when I got the National Honor Society. It's a thing at the American school, you're selected for it, and junior year, I must have been 17, I got in. I didn't even tell my parents about it. And I was really surprised to get it. And as I was walking home, I thought to myself, Amin, you can't change, you're a given. This is it. That was a funny realization.
Such a monumental question is, what makes you tick? That's the only answer.
Well, sweetheart, okay, what makes me tick? What really fuels me? Like any man, I mean, we're basic, right? We're not women, we're not profound. We're basic. What makes us tick? Sex, food, love.
Love. I think that's the answer. Thank you. We move on from H.M. Naqvi to Qudus Mirza, who is one of our foremost artists, curators, art critics, academics. He is currently teaching at the BNU. Earlier, he used to be the head of the Fine Art Department at the National College of Arts. And his question to Amin is, in your entire practice of art, how do you differentiate between Gulgee and Amin? Or in another term, the separation, amalgamation of modern and contemporary in your art?
Oh, wow. You know, Qudus it's a true friend, and he's a brilliant artist. I think he's an incredible painter, and he actually interviewed my father back in the day. And my father was completely besotted by him and his work. And, my parents, again, I've said this time and time again, it's boring, but I'll say it again, my parents really didn't want me to be an artist. I didn't want to be an artist, so, with my father and his trajectory, although I grew up loving his work, watching him paint, I completely blocked the art side of it. And I kind of came out as an artist, after I graduated from university. That's what I wanted to do. So I've always consciously avoided this question. And what is contemporary and what is modern? I mean, my interests go back into Islamic art, which is like hundreds and hundreds of years old. And also some concerns are today. And then in a strange way, I think that's why my monograph is called No Man's Land. I'm a liminal space between.
Thank you. So before we proceed to somebody else's question, because Amin spoke about the fact that he had not wanted to be an artist, and it's something that happened. It was more...
Glitch.
I'd like to ask him what happened, because he went to college in the US and he majored in economics. So from there to this trajectory, what happened?
I blame it on the French and the Americans, because there was a French-American girl who took me kicking and screaming freshman year to my first art history class, Dominique Malaquet. And I said, Dominique, I hate Baroque art. Please, I hate it. She's like, no, you have to come with me. So I went, and the professor, Judith Colton, was incredible. And she could make me see it in a whole different way. And it was so beautiful. You have to understand, I hated economics, right? Absolutely hated it. And it was so wonderful. So I took the course. And after that, I got into a habit, a bad habit. I took one art history class after another. At the end of it, I had a major in art history. And then I had a bit of a problem with my senior thesis because they weren't allowing me to write my thesis. But then my dad knew Oleg Rubard. There was no Islamic art history department at Yale at that time. I wanted to do it on Shalimar, Mughal Gardens. And I was allowed to, and I kind of won a prize for it. And that actually, in the strange roundabout way, took me back into the arts. The incredible things that the Muslims have done through the years was just so beautiful.
And leading on from that question, the fact, probably at the behest of your parents.
No.
Okay.
You can't blame my poor parents. This is all me.
Okay, so you went for something else, came out with something else. What was the reaction of your parents when you said that you were doing art history?
Actually, I didn't tell them because being a South Asian, I would proudly come home every summer and say, Beta, what are you doing? I said, Auntie, I'm studying economics. Oh, that's lovely, Beta. Come meet my daughter. And they were really happy with it. So I kept art history. It's kind of like a deep, dark secret. I was just doing it, for fun. And I actually forgot to tell my parents about it completely. So no. So during graduation, I graduated a semester later, and then my parents came back to my apartment and said, "Hey, we met your dean. He's really happy with you. Won a prize for art history. You majored in art history?" I said, "Yeah, Ma, I did that as well." And that's how they got to know about it. Yeah.
The reaction was?
The reaction was like, I mean, it's art history. I mean, my poor parents, I think, had kind of given up on me by then.
And moving on to a question from Shakil Sehgal, who's a renowned artist. He's 80 years old. He's given his entire life to art. He is a painter. So his question is, when you envision a sculpture, do you sketch it and execute it yourself in metal? Or do you have a team of artisans who follow your instructions and design?
I don't sketch any of my work. I don't. I can't. I tried to, and it didn't work out for me. You got stuck with the initial idea. It didn't allow magic to happen. So when I work hands-on, and I have 5 guys with me. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 2. Between 2 and 5, let's say 7. And so I have these people with me, and they're my hands. And they follow all my diktats to the core. And we can do it just by a gesture. Ye kaato, wo karo, ye thoko, ye khatam karo, ye kholo. You know, like, and we work. And you have to understand, this is not lovely painting. It's not silent with opera playing in the back. It's sculpture. It's metal work. It's this banging cacophony. This is medieval work, what I do. And yeah, and then we all have to become one. I have a very intimate relationship with everybody I work with. That's why I don't like visitors in my workshop. When people say, we want to watch your work, I'm like, please don't. Please go away. Not my parents, and not even John is allowed in my workshop.
So it's interesting. You call it your workshop as opposed to what artists call their studio space.
Yes, it's a workshop.
Yeah, and that's a deliberate thing because it's where work is happening.
Yeah.
And it's loud and it's noisy and it's crazy.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. These were some of the questions, and I will now invite random people. I hope you don't mind.
Anybody has a question, please ask me.
Yeah, they can ask a question.
This is open season.
Sure,
Yeah.
go ahead.
My name is Antiana Iqbal, and my question is, if you could go back in time and give yourself one advice, your younger self, like right before graduating, what would it be?
Funny, right? Because my problem is I've never really listened to anyone in my life, ever. Not even, I mean, I love my parents. I mean, till the sky was tall. And I remember once, right after my show at Ali Imam's, right? And I'd done all of these Gandhara heads. I was very interested in discovering sculptural forms that have emanated from Pakistan. So you have Gandhara, you have Krishnas, you have Bodhisattva, amazing. And they did very well economically. And my mother was like, stop doing this stupid calligraphy, make more heads, And you smile. I love my mother, right? And you smile and you just go ahead and do exactly what you do. So I wouldn't have ever listened to anyone. I couldn't even, if I go to my younger self would have given me the finger.
May I ask Sohail Usman Ali, who's sitting in the front row, deliberately, he is one of our foremost patrons of the art. He is a regular feature.
And extremely handsome.
Okay. That is always Amin's, very important. So he's somebody who's there at every show, at every gallery, not now, for the last 50 years. So he's somebody who's really important for all of us in the art world. And I would request him to just ask a question. Whether it's about Amin or about his parents or his personal or professional life is perfectly okay.
Well, I went to your first show at Indus with Ali Imam. I still remember that show. And you were trying to encourage all of us to appreciate and touch the feel and see the textures in the metal, that it was alive. I remember that. And I've been to many of all of them, in fact, performance shows. So when I've seen you all through the stages, and on top of that, I've been seeing in a Canvas Gallery right from the beginning. So it's nice to see a culmination of both of you sitting here together. I appreciate what Canvas and Sameera are doing for this book launch, and it's great that you encourage art like this. That's all I can say.
How much of your work has been therapeutic and cathartic, and how do you emote?
Your question was, how much of your work is therapeutic? All of it is. All of it is. I'm an extremely unstable person. So, and I'm too cheap for therapy. So my work is therapy. No, it is. I process everything through my work. It is, you know what I mean? That's why, you know, these sort of conscious decisions of where the work should go and what the society is and how do I want to position myself just doesn't exist with me. It has to be true and valid for myself, and I generally don't give a shit about the audience. If they like it, I'm extremely grateful. Grateful. I'll touch your feet. However, if you don't like it, I understand. And that's just the way it is.
My name is Pushra Sen. Amin, I'd like to ask you, have you ever lost any sleep on any artwork that you worked on and it was something that sort of mind boggled you or created anxiety when you were finishing the work? Has ever there been any work that you have worked on?
You know, it's funny, right? Because a lot of times you're working, it doesn't happen for me. I've got huge storage rooms, and when it doesn't happen, it's okay. You know, it's okay. I can be working for months on something and it's a piece of shit. And I don't like it. It's not good shit. Good shit is what I show in the gallery. Bad shit is what goes back into the storage room. You know, and that's fine because it's the process I'm interested in. I remember I was working for a piece for this show that I had, Spooky Action in the Distance, at Sameera's, the non-binary cube. It's a very large cube. It was right here. And it's not symmetrical. The placement, it's all balanced. This large cube is balanced on one point. And again, I don't sketch, draw. It's all intuitive. And I remember even my workshop was kind of like, Amin saab, ye kya kar rahe? You know, which they couldn't dare to say, but I could see it in their eyes. But it was fine. And I told John, oh, John, I don't know whether it's going to stand or not, and I truly don't care, because I'm having such a blast. It is wonderful. You know, people ask, what's your favorite piece? It's the piece you're working on at the moment. Even if it doesn't work out, that's it. That's your entire universe at that moment. And and even my workshop guys, when I took the armature out, because you make an armature around it to hold it up, were nervous. And I'm like, sweethearts, if it's not going to stand up now, it's not going to stand up, and it'll go into my storage room. Relax. No, there's no stress in this. It is therapeutic, Bushra. There's no anxiety. There's nothing. If you have a show, you never worry about the number of pieces or nothing. No, that's your private never land. And that's precious for me.
So I would like to add to that, actually. Ali Imam, who was a great mentor of mine and of Amin's, and we both absolutely love him and owe him a lot. Somebody that I think everybody in the art world should remember with a lot of respect and admiration.
Yes, Ali Imam.
So he said at one time that art is a puzzle, and you don't have to finish the puzzle at that time. You can just leave it because the puzzle is evading you, and then go back to it at a later stage and solve the puzzle. But once you have solved the puzzle, then don't go back to it.
Yeah.
I think that was such a beautiful way of talking about art, because a lot of artists, because then it becomes a formula, right? And you know that this is what works, so you keep on doing the same thing over and over again. And that's when an artist is not being honest to themselves. And that is, I think, what Amin is saying, that there are lots of tests that happen and they don't work, and he just shuns them and puts them in the back room. Yeah. But eventually, when he's ready, he may just revisit that.
Yes.
And who knows what will come out of that. So that's really important. So thank you. This was a moment to think and appreciate somebody who's not here with us. And we kind of forget people when they're not there, or when they're when we don't need them anymore. So I think it was something that was reflective for all of us within the art community to mention Ali Imam. So thank you. And I would like to move on to...
I want to say just something about Ali Imam. Because Ali Imam Saab was the first person I had a gallery show at Karachi with. And I remember I'd just come back from university, And I wanted to have a sculpture show. And I said, Ali Imam Saab, I want to have a sculpture show. And he's like, Beta, sculpture is commercial. It's not commercial and it's controversial and I don't want to show it. And I said, no, uncle. And I hounded him. I was Sheldon about it. I kept on knocking on his door and I tried every stupid trick in the book, including, but you're good friends with my father, And I literally, berated him into, coerced him and seduced him into giving me a show. And he told me something really, just wonderful. He said, Dekhe, beta, your thing is coming Jung. Jung is an Urdu newspaper. Log padhenge, people will read it. This idea that art is not just for the English elite, it's for everybody. And then you have Sameera Raja. I've only shown with 2 gallerists. I have solo shows with 2 gallerists. First was Ali Imam, where I did 1 show, and then the next one was Sameera Raja came onto the scene. Wonderful, strong, courageous Sameera Raja. And I'm a lucky man. And, and she's been so marvelous. So marvelous, because I want to do a performance, Sameera. Sure, do a performance. I'm going to have people jumping. Sure. There's never, ever. Sameera, keep your gates open. Of course I'll keep my gates open. Just unbelievable, this open-hearted and courageous approach towards the scene. Because in Karachi, we have commercial galleries, but they're more than commercial galleries. They do events like this, which are completely non-profit, and they do it to promote the whole scene. And I think a big round of applause should go to Miss Raja. And also, she's the only one. Look, I grew up, oh, sorry, Sameera, it's my turn. I grew up painting, right? I did not grow up making sculpture. Although my parents did not want me to be an artist, father and son bonding sessions were like painting with dad. Like I painted, he painted, we just paint together. Him on his canvas, me on mine. And then when my parents were in Nakia Gully, John was in America, I decided to show 4 of my paintings with Miss Raja. And she gave me the courage to show them.
We can move on to Nusrat Khwaja, who is a writer and a curator, and I'd like her to ask a question.
Thank you, Sameera. I'm going to ask a question that has been playing on my mind since this session began, and I have been imagining you writing in Paris. And I'd really like to know what discoveries you're making as a writer that you haven't made as an artist.
Yeah, because, I read constantly. I have to read. I'm old. And I have to read. I have to read. And I read stories. I read novels. And stories are like sculpture. There's a structure to stories. There's a construction to stories. There's a construction to a sentence. So they're not so far apart, except because I'm dyslexic, writing has always been challenging for me. And I think it's good to sort of go outside one's comfort zone.
So basically he's learning a lot, or he's finding a lot. He's excavating. That's what he's doing. So before I ask anybody else, I do want you all to give yourselves a round of applause for the wonderful audience, because this is a packed house. And we had a similar session at a fancy club a month back, and the audience was dismal. Seriously. So that's where we came up with this, that is that all? Is that the cultural elite of Karachi? We can do better. So thank you all. You've really proved that there is a cultural elite. And moving on to the last question.
Something which I have 2 questions actually. I mean, first, let me compliment you for such a packed house and everything. It's a great pleasure and an honor to see you. And I think with my voice, I don't need the mic, right? I'm bothered by the thought that how much artificial intelligence is going to affect your work. Will it be facilitator or a handicap for creative thinking? Right. And my second question is, which I did a paper actually also. I'm a professor, right? And the paper was, when you are creating something, right? There is something which comes from inside, your motivation, you know, your aesthetic motivation. And then there is a commercial thing. So the market wants this thing, but you want this thing from your inside. How do you balance the two?
These are completely valid questions. As far as AI goes, I mean, even I'm super old, right? I'm ancient, but even back in the day, you had like computer programs, graphics, you know, things that you could map out on a computer to help you design, draw, create, work out structural details, and I never used it. So AI, I mean, I'm too stupid for AI. I'm not intelligent enough for artificial intelligence, so I don't use it because I have my head. You have to understand, right? When you see something in your head, sometimes it's a blurred image, sometimes it's absolute, sometimes it changes, but it's so fluid. It's so fluid, even in my process. I mean, one day somebody called me a bangan, and that's, in Urdu it means eggplant, and I didn't know it means to flip-flop. Tum bangan ho, you are an eggplant. I flip-flop, yes. In my sculptural work, I keep every sort of like option open till it's resolved, because you never know. And sometimes it's not resolved, that's fine. And as far as the second issue is concerned, no, I'm a je suis narcissist. It must be what I want. It has to be. And I even told myself back in the day when I used to make jewelry, lots of it, by the kilo. And I said, I'd much rather design a pair of earrings that are mine than a 100-foot monument that is not mine. I'm terrible that way, and that's why, I mean, I'm a difficult artist.
My name is Dr. Wajiha Rahman, and I have a silly question. So Sameera said that your workshop is noisy and loud, right? So when you're creating, because I know even you as a personality, you're boisterous, so how does this creation happen when it's so loud and noisy?
Not only are all these grinding machines and stuff going on, I have the stereo on full blast, playing FM 89, full blast. So it's super loud, but it relaxes me. Cacophony relaxes me. It calms me down a bit. I stop shaking a little bit. I chill a bit. And for some reason, this sort of chaos makes me feel calm.
And this question is following up on the storm that I have on my left to the calm that I have on my right.
Hi, I'm John McCary, and I have a very direct question, which I'm very simple. So when you and Sameera were discussing this sort of double book launch, you were talking about discussing the possibilities of how to format it, and you guys came up with the idea of why don't we just ask people, like HM or Adila to come up with a question. Now, this is a simple yes or no, question. You insisted, didn't you, that you did not want to know what the questions were beforehand?
Yeah, that's right. When we came out with the format, Sameera asked 2 artists, 2 writers, 2 critics to ask me questions, and I didn't want to know. In fact, Kiran called me up the night before, said, I want to read you what I've written. I'm like, I don't want to know. No, life has to be a surprise, right? Everything is your workshop. The act of living is the act of making art. It has to be. It's so short.
So yes, John, because Amin lives his life. There is no need for him to be given that prompt, that be prepared. In fact, when Shakil Sehgal sent the question, I said, I'm not forwarding it to Amin because he needs to, I'm just going to read it out to him and he'll answer. Whatever it is, he will answer because this is how he leads his life. So there's no pretense, right? There's no preparing. We're creatives. We say it as it is. We don't Google each other and we don't read long things about each other. There are no eulogies. You either know Amin or you don't know Amin. That's really how it is.
Ancienter than you, Amin, you forget Gul. So you're forgetting. I'm saying there was a very heated debate about graffiti art and all, activism merging with art, and you, of course, in your person are an activist of the highest order as well. So how much do you think that is the only genre to bring masses into, and not just, those known faces to the art? So So are you still in, like, do you confess that, or do you popularize that? Graffiti art, or I don't know how to get masses into the art scene.
It's really important, because sometimes people want to take art to sort of the bazaars or outside, out of the white cube, to bring it to the people. But there has to be the other way too, where people have to feel comfortable into coming into white cubes, into coming into art spaces, and that's also very important. And, I think every artist is an activist if they're true. Because if you're saying something so personal for you, and so honestly you, then there is a truth and a strength to it.
Thank you. And so my final question to Amin. I think we've been part of each other's journey for a very long time. So I've seen Amin doing jewelry, painting, that one show that he had and the one that I keep on twisting his arm to have again. Go back and paint. Because honestly, he is a fabulous painter. For anyone who has not seen his canvases, everybody knows Amin Gulgee as a sculptor. Trust me, he paints absolutely fabulously. So anytime I'm successful in twisting his arm enough and breaking it, he will have a show at Canvas. So as a sculptor, as a jewelry designer, as a painter, as a performance artist, as a curator, as a writer, what are you going to give us next?
We're just talking now. No, I don't know. And that's the great joy. I've just let life go where it leads me, because, I really did. Economics was horrible. 4 years I got a major. It was truly pain, lots of pain. And after that, I said, forget it. You told yourself you're never going to live in Pakistan, had a green card, got a passport, but you're never going to live here, you're never going to be an artist. You failed at both. So after that, I stopped making plans. And after that, it's been just whatever comes next, I will do and give it my all, and then something else, inshallah, will come up, and you just float down the river of life.
Thank you. And I know we thank a lot of people, and Amin has already done all the thanking right at the start from all the people who've been part of his journey, and especially his books. But I would like to take the opportunity to thank his parents. It's his father's birthday tomorrow, and he would have been
99.
99. Let us take a moment to think of Ismail Gulgee, who was a very important artist, and look at the museum that his son has bequeathed to all of us. So thank you to the parents. Thank you to John for being this absolute anchor for this very volatile person who I need, to stay away from. And honestly, thank you to all who've been part of his journey, because as artists, as creatives, we all need each other. I think we forget how much we need each other and how much we are all part of a whole. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for being on time. Thank you for showing up for Amin and for Canvas. And we love you very much.
One last thing. Can I have the last word, please? Please, a big, huge round of applause for Sameera Raja. No, please stay. It's my book launch. And we were talking about my father, but it's also, it's not my mother's birthday tomorrow, but it's so important. The Pakistani art scene exists because of women. The writers, the critics, the gallerists, they're all women. And without my mother, Zaro Gulgee would not have done what he did. And, you must remember her too in your prayers.
Thank you all. And now tea is served for people who want to look at the book, buy it, get it signed, whatever. The books are here. Amin will be here. So thank you all.
Great meeting you.
all again. Number one. Number two, you got that.